All right, hey, welcome everybody back. Season 5, episode 9. And the Opinion Outlaws back at it again.
Again,
Before we even start, you know what to do. Subscribe, comment, like down below.
some shit like that. So
Hit the bell button. Go and
put the comment down below.
I said it all already.
you already said-
My bad.
Go check the social.
But go to socials, Instagram, TikTok, and of course Spotify now. I updated it again. I updated it again, and it goes back to now at the end of May. It's the last episode coming.
Okay,
so
well.
go there, listen to us, because we understand it, right? You don't want to put the YouTube on and then go and clean something or do something. No, you want to put the Spotify on and then go clean, go jog, go
Mind your
work
own
out,
business.
mind your own business. I understand and I appreciate it. And today,
Second last episode, remember that?
yeah, second last episode of the season, and I was looking at the day that I was updating the Spotify. I was looking at the numbers. In Spotify, we don't have that much listeners because I believe that because we haven't like marketed it, we haven't told people that outside of these videos. But YouTube, there was a couple episodes. I'm like, hold on, where are these numbers coming from? Like, how are you doing?
Put in the work.
How you doing? But I can see it from clearly, like each season there are more viewers, so therefore we are going at the right direction. But that aside, I don't know. I've spoken about this as well. That when I am the type of person that when I see, for example, that we have 10 people who have listened to it or watched it, I'm like, damn, 10 people. Like, I see you. I see you. I get excited in a bit. But then I saw one video, we had 150 in this season. One video. Yeah.
Okay. I see progress.
Yeah, I'm looking at it like, hold on a second. Like,
Where y'all came from?
150 times somebody watched this? Yeah.
Yeah, I see.
I see you. So, in a sense, I am happy about it.
Hey, it don't matter how many the viewers, as long as you got that couple of loyal viewers, that's all what matter. You know?
Yes, sir.
'Cause
Yes,
you
sir.
can always bring more, but you also gotta remember to maintain the ones that you got going on right now.
Yes, sir.
So-
Yes, sir.
10, 5, don't really matter that much.
Yes, sir.
Of course, preferably, we would like to have the opportunity to have, plenty of viewers. The viewer counts would go up noticeably, but no rush with that.
For
God's
sure.
plan. as
For
we
sure,
say.
for sure. We will do our job, but then what's outside of us, it's outside of us.
Pretty much.
But let's dabble, let's go, let's dig deeper to the topic. To the topic that we all have today in our hands. We will talk about the gang affiliations.
Hey, yo, whoa. Whoa. Hey, yo, y'all heard from him. What? Whoa.
And the
Whoa.
cult affiliations, that how the belonging goes in those type of places, in those, for example, the mafia, the Crips, the Bloods, the MS-13, the
Hey, yo. Association right there.
no.
Y'all hear the guy.
I'm a good guy. I don't do that.
Crazy association right there.
For example, the Hells Angels, the bikers, like
Hey, yo, let's just say it like this. Let's not drop names, Let's just say, y'all understand, gangs, clubs, certain groups, parties. Without, putting some names on.
all I'm saying is that all these information is open. Like in you one Google search and you will see this information. But of course, if the story was like this, that there is a gang or there is a place that you don't know, but you can see the effect, then yeah, I'm not talking about it. Like, yeah, it's not good. But everybody knows the mafia, for example. The movies told us, the books have been
Godfather.
told. Godfather, one of my favorites.
One of the top ones.
Number 2, of course,
Godfather. Scarface.
Scarface, for example. But Scarface, he's not mafia, he's more like gangster. Not in a gangster, but gangster. Gangster. But still, even though those are movies, they have derived from somewhere, they have come from somewhere. It's not the original story, of course. And with that being said, my our podcast starts with this question: how people actually, let's start with this. How does this kind of gangs or affiliations or clubs or parties form? Where does it come from? Because I know, for example, the mafia's history to the pinpoint, how it came about.
So how usually certain clubs or members form
How they form.
Typically, I don't know very specifics, but how I generally understood it is that it usually comes from feeling of lack of something. For example, certain type of group feel like they're not being heard or understood or being treated wrongly. For example, government is not treating them right, or they're not being given enough opportunities. For example, for job, for money making, or something like that, which usually create that horde mentality of it's us against them, pretty much. So what we gonna do? We gonna make our own thing, which is kind of like against that opposite thing, basically, in that sense. Of course, not every group or gang or whatever is built like that, but usually the mentality is pretty much like it's us against everybody else. And when there's enough people who have the same idea, then you kind of like start uniting together on that same ground. And I don't know about you, but you said you know how the mafia was built up. Like how is it? Because I remember from like history class, you know, back in the good old day of New York days, they had like, was it based on, for example, the laws? Like, because you remember when they had the alcohol ban? For example. That was one way of building that momentum.
But that was, for example, from the actual Scarface. What was the guy's name in Chicago? Al Capone.
Moneymaker.
The actual Scarface, not the movie, but the actual Scarface. He was from a notorious gangster, like a true gangster, a mafioso. And that guy, from the alcohol ban, then he started to make amends.
Make your own bags. I don't know. I ain't no snitch. I don't know what happened, but that's what I heard. That's what I heard.
Do you know, actually, this is a funny story. Everybody knew what was he about. Like, everybody knew. But, for example, police cannot go and just capture you on the base of, I know. Yeah. No, you have to have proof. And because Al Capone was such a menace to society, he knew exactly what to do, what not to do.
Yeah, how to play with the law.
Do you know how he got caught? You would never guess.
He was, don't tell me a female was included?
No.
Oh, I'm surprised.
Do you want to hear it?
He gave himself up?
No.
Wait.
No. You think that kind of gangster gives himself up?
I don't know, man. Gangster.
Tax evasion.
That's why they say...
Think about this.
Never avoid
IRS.
Yeah, in America. Don't never mess with them, because they're one of the biggest gangsters you got going on out here.
Think about, like, he was doing all these illegal activities. Like, everybody knew.
Taxes.
But the one thing he got busted for, tax evasion.
Taxes. Hey, that's why in this country that we live in, they say you can do pretty much most of the crimes. Hey, this is not something that I suggest you to do or recommend you to do.
Yeah, don't do it.
But this is like what we have noticed based on certain statistics. Something you can do, pretty much you can, the art thing,
Grape.
You can steal, you can run theft auto, you can
take,
you can murder, pretty much.
You can take a man's life.
Yeah, pretty much. You can cause havoc. And you might get a sentence, a couple of years here and there, nothing crazy. Not like in America, life sentence was whatever. But once something you definitely don't want to do is mess up with the government's money. Don't fuck with the government's money.
Yes.
Let's just say they don't take that politely. They don't take it easy,
No.
You don't slack. The bill that they put behind your head It's crazy, especially when tax collector calculates your yearly estimation that you have made. You know, especially if for some reason you forget to mention to them something,
Oh,
they
yes.
come a couple of years later like, hold up a minute, some about your money wasn't right. You know, some about your money wasn't right, and if you, let's say, you money launder in Finland, automatically, if I remember, you automatically get almost maximum.
Maximum 10 years. Because the first timer gets a half a penalty, it goes to 10 years. Because the maximum in Finland is 20 years, the life sentence here.
Yeah, but usually a lot of them get forgiven early on.
Yeah, forgiven. And 10 years, if you're a first timer and you money launder here, don't ask me how I know this.
Oh, whoa,
If you money launder here, you get minimum 10 years.
Jeez.
Now think about that, minimum 10 years. Somebody I knew gave me this story and told me this story about in Helsinki. What happened?
I know none, bro. I heard none.
You don't know because this is an absurdity that we are living in here.
I know none.
There was the guy's brother was killed. Now the guy who killed this brother, he was up and coming to the judge, to the jury. What's the right word? The prosecution. He didn't show up.
He was talking.
I'm talking about 3 years ago. He didn't show up.
Yeah.
Then again, when the argument was that he didn't have a phone. Who in the right mind in this world here doesn't have a phone?
Well, they get sent the letter as well.
Exactly. Like finally, when they got him, he goes up to the judge. He goes to the court. He got a sentence, 1 year, 8 months.
That's a titty slap, let's say it like that.
1 year, 8 months, and it was in. What's the right word that it doesn't get like? He doesn't need to. Not the parole, but he doesn't need to all.
Complete the whole sentence.
Yeah, he doesn't need to complete the whole sentence in jail. Like he can.
House arrest type of?
Like a house arrest. Not
it is
even,
parole.
It is parole?
It is parole.
If I remember correctly,
it is with parole, kind of like, you can be forgiven and easing up your sentence that you can like.
It was, don't quote me on this because I'm not sure was it with parole or without, but I damn sure I remember 1 year, 8 months, a man takes another man's life. Now, if I go and I launder money,
bro, you're cool.
and it goes above a certain amount, if I remember correctly, it goes over 10,000. Because then, the taxpayers, if you go above the 10, now it's 13,000. If you go above that, then your tax payment goes whoosh.
Hey, you don't want to mess with that. You don't want to mess with that. Let's just say it like that.
It was something like that if you go 10,000 above on the money laundering, you will get a pretty hefty jail sentence. So
with a big hand too.
So killing a person is
much more cheaper.
Much more cheaper to your time than money laundering.
So yeah, you remember that. Don't mess with government's money. Or at least they call it government's money. So
yeah, what they say.
What they say exactly. Pay your taxes.
But
how
the mafia was formed? It actually starts in the middle of the 1800s in southern Italy, Sicily and southern Italy, where the mining was happening, that the minerals was transported to places. And now because the mining territories were such a gold digging miners that you send a miner and of course you want that territory for yourself. But the guy who wants it, of course he's as powerful as you, so therefore the groups were started to form. And hence
about money.
Hence the word mafia. For example, they have this oath called Cosa Nostra, which in a saying goes that you will deny that we ever exist, and if something happens, you never out anyone. But if a family needs you, you will leave everything and you come. Like that was the whole idea of it. Now, Because in Italy there was a rough time between 1900s, in the beginning of 1900s, they was immigrated to New York. Most of them immigrated to New York, and they started to build there. But then the discrimination happened. Italian, step aside. And from that came now the famous Italian mob, where they go and get protection money. That was the whole like the formation of how it happened. Now, after that, the whole sequence, how the mafia worked. Now of course, now because openness and you have all the knowledge in the world, it showcases, for example, that we said belonging. If you were half Italian, you were automatically much more scrutinized to get inside the family. Even if you were half Italian, let's say you have a father who was Italian and the mother was Greek, which was very common. Like it was very common thing, or Spanish. You had a hard time to join in the mafia group or in a family setting. The reason being is because you are not fully Italian.
You ain't one of us.
It was simple as that. And the second thing was that somebody from already inside the family had to vouch for you.
For you to get, yeah.
So these were the criteria for you only to get in, not even to be something over there, but just to get in.
Just to get your legs in.
Now, of course, the mafia is not the same as it used to be, but now it's more, they don't do any, like, yeah, they do drugs, but not in that same level, and they don't have the same level of authority that they had before. But they still have, for example, gambling. It's a big part of mafia groups nowadays.
Money laundering.
Who said that? But I'm saying that this is how, like, in a very long list of things that has happened in the mafia history, is abstracted to what I just told. And that's how it came about, that Italians, discriminated, hardworking for sure. How can they live up to anything? Because they didn't have money. Where do you get money if you don't get jobs or you don't get anything to do? You go and say, hey, if you want to keep your business, you pay me. Protection money.
Protection.
And that's how it came about in mafia. And this is what I have read and looked up to, and I can fact check this on any day. But then I remember we talked about also the Crips and the Bloods. I understood, I'm not sure, like you can correct me on this, but I understood that both these gangs were more to, because the police wasn't doing the protecting and serving, so therefore they start to do that. So there was more for the community than anything else.
If I remember right, because also, don't quote me on this, but if I remember right, actually Crips were actually built, or the Crip gang in itself was created before Bloods. Bloods are, well, not, I wouldn't say new, but it came a little bit later, afterward. Crips were built in a sense of honor. You know how they used to say, back in the days, gangs and gangsters were a little bit different because they have that, sense of, honor in their behavior, even though it was seen as a criminal behavior, but they had like certain respect or honor on how they do things, so not a lot of civilians get involved or so on and so on. So it was in the same concept, and if I remember right, it was built through jail too as well.
Okay.
If I remember right. And the idea was to, maintain the community, but also protect the community, and on top of all the other thing that they were doing as well. Oh no, I heard none, I see none. But yeah, and then Bloods, I don't really specifically remember their history, how they were built, but I don't know none. I would just say like that. I don't know none, I see none.
But in those gangs, for example, how can you see us, not yourself, but somebody who is affiliated to there? How will they go about that they get involved in that gang, and then how the belonging plays a part of it?
Yeah, we don't even have to go that far away because we have the same situation happening in even if Finland. Like a lot of people be creating gangs in that sense, and how the recruitment in a lot of cases happen is like they're not always, but usually there's a mismatch happening going on in example in a household or in their social life in general, that somebody feels like they're either not being seen or heard or left out in general. So let's imagine this: you have this one group that you might look up to them a little bit because they're, of course, a lot of time they're older than you.
Yeah.
So you look up to them and they take you under their wing, and especially in the beginning, they take you under their wing and speak to you in a tone that don't worry about it, we got you, we protect you, make you feel like you're secure in a sense.
Yeah.
Then next thing, they make you feel like you're being heard, like the same kind of like same tactics that every cult have. They kind of fulfill the basic necessity that human have in like social aspect. Then after that, there's situation where they also might do it in a sense of favor. They do a favor for you, so subconsciously and consciously you start thinking that you're in debt to them as well. And that's how the snowball effect start rolling up, and next thing you notice, you're being asked to do dibble dabbles for us, do take that thing from that place, beat that person. And because people, especially the one being recruited, feels that they are in such a debt, and also because they see them as somebody that they looked up to, they start creating that little bit of loyalty toward them. And of course, there might be a little conscious thinking that I don't want to necessarily do this, I might end up getting in trouble. But because you think that you don't want to be disrespectful to them, because they have gotten your back in essence for quite a while, you start doing the stuff, and little by little you start noticing that the living aspect kind of like vanishes. Because you get so deep into the because we are not even getting that deep into the gang aspect in itself, but overall how it's kind of with the same logic. If you know how the cults are usually created, it pretty much has the same type of build up as gangs. We just for some reason separate them nowadays. We could call gangs as cults.
For sure.
And so that usually is the basic how the recruitment happened. That the recruited person feels that they're being heard and feel like they're being seen in that same sense. But
because it you see how different it is from the mafia, for example. Like the mafia, now I'm talking about the Italian mafia, and the difference between that and the Crips, for example, how the recruitment goes. It's interesting. It is interesting. No, I don't know anyone.
And also it might differ a little bit as well in that sense, because some even had the sense of, because with the certain American gangs, they had that, at least back in the days, they had that mentality of, we don't want the younger generation to follow in ours. They kind of understood how it goes. So in a lot of cases, they wanted, in a sense, that if they see somebody who's good at school, they kind of like trying to avoid from that person being involved with them that much. So, might be like, hey, yo, bro,
for sure.
But if you were, as a recruitable person, you were interested in that lifestyle, and your life wasn't really, there wasn't really meaningful thing, you weren't good in school or anything like that, of course, they will get you in. If you wanted that, most definitely they will get you in. But if they see that you could be well off through school route, then of course they will try to avoid.
And he's talking about like old school.
Yeah, old school mentality. Nowadays, bro, anybody could get it. Nowadays, anybody could get it, which is kind of bad. Which we kind of go back to the, like, old school mentality had that, little separation of, honor that thing and that thing. And most of the time when they had a problem, it was between like other party, like
Yeah.
the quote unquote rivals or
Yeah.
whoever they saw as the enemy, and they didn't want to involve. And that's funny thing that also happens in like the places we call favelas and stuff like that. They had the same type of mentality as well.
Yeah.
Like even though we call them that, they are very, you know,
Loco.
go cuckoo loco and all in the between, but at least what I've seen in like videos and like I said, the uncut Arab, because he went actually to that place.
Yeah,
they
yeah,
have
yeah.
that mentality, like the civilians, they try to avoid as much as possible in that sense of involving them in the situation. But to the rivals, bro, there's no such a thing as peace or friend, which is bad. Which is bad. All like violence toward each other is bad in a sense, but the understanding of it, you know, it goes to like we have the same mentality. We are all together here, and whoever is on the opposite side is like against us, and so on and so on. So, but explain how the mafia, because you said it differs a little bit.
Like I said, the requirement is that, well, there's a distinction because, for example, I'm taking now Italian mafia and Albanian mafia. There is a distinction because in Albanian mafia, the criteria is you have to be 100% Albanian. Like that's their criteria. You cannot just. Well, for example, here I know a couple of couples that couple of couples. Jesus. But I knew a few couples that have like they are mixed, like Albanian dad and Finnish mom or Finnish dad and Albanian mom. Like I know those type of. They immediately are stepped aside. Like you don't have any kind of entry. They may keep.
You ain't one of us.
No,
you fake.
Like you may be around, but you ain't coming with the big boys. You ain't going with.
You ain't big player. You ain't big baller.
You ain't big baller. And I'm gonna give you guys actually a story, a true story, how one Albanian mafia can be, how they can get in. Now, to tell the Albanian mafia, you have to go a little bit back in history to the 1400s. There was a kanun, I don't know if you have heard of. It's from our area, it's the law book.
Yeah.
And that law book was written like from now 1,000 years back.
Yeah.
And I have it over here. The copy, of course, not the original one, Jesus Christ.
I gotta hold on, pause. Everybody start looking. Hold on.
It's one of the hardest books that I have ever read because it's in Albanian. I know how to read Albanian, but it's in Albanian, which is like old Albanian. I'm talking about the back.
Backward.
When you read that stuff, you actually have to focus. Like you actually have to.
What they say over here?
Like you need to actually read. And there are a lot of good things, in my opinion, that we should still keep as a rules and regulations. For example, if you have a guest come in your house, you have to treat them with utmost respect. You give them food, you give them like you keep hospitality, and that is a very big part of our culture. But then there is some rules and regulations there. I'm like, we ain't need to do that, you know. For example, there is one part where it says that when a boy turns 15, his father is obligated to buy him a gun. Because it...
Hey, game is game, bro.
Like,
he's game.
Straight for breakup.
Hey, yo. You know, you need to start calling your dad, you know. Which one?
But these are like the law book of our area. Now, the thing is that he has been kept for over 1,000 years. There are still, to this day, families and areas in Albanian Peninsula. I'm talking about Kosovo, Macedonia, Serbia, southern Serbia, Montenegro. These places in Greek parts where are like Albanian families, and they still uphold that.
The same rule.
Now there, one of the places is the blood payment.
Ooh. So we coming back to John Wick type of shit?
It goes even deeper because it's very like an honor-based thing. You kill one of us, you owe us a blood.
At least one.
At least one. And from that point of history, we go back to now where how an Albanian can get caught up in mafia is that somewhere in northern Albania, there was a dispute over land, and one guy killed your uncle. Now,
Nah, bro.
you, with the kanun, you have to go and avenge that. But you don't have a brother who is older than you or younger than you. Your father is old. Your uncle is dead. You're the only man who can do the job. But you're 16.
You can't just go.
You're a young boy.
Bird! You say bird?
But you still get an old Glock,
Hold up, pause.
and you know where the guy is. You go and you shoot the man because you're taking the blood payment. Now you have to flee from there because they will look at you. They will hunt you down. So you flee from Albania. You flee somewhere. Usually it goes to Kosovo. And you end up in a warehouse where a guy is now waiting for these kind of boys, the young boys, who are ready to do anything. And they start to transfer money, drugs, but the guy, that young boy, he never opens the box. No, he never opens the box and see what's in the box.
Oh yeah, the transporters.
He will just say, send this to Serbia. And
Move this thing for me.
Move this thing for me. And of course, if you get caught, we don't know anything. It's on you.
Yeah. Washing the hands.
But you do that for a couple of years, then you get promoted, and you go to one area where the drug operation, the mafia operation is much bigger, and you start to there have more power and more influence, and then you more have commanded. Like, it goes to a point. But then the worst thing happens is you get caught and then you sent to Dubai. But then you get a call from someone who speaks Albanian and says, you killed my uncle, I'm taking my blood payment now. According to Kanun. So
chain goes on.
So for many years back, that what happened, I'm talking about like, let's say 30 years back, that 16-year-old boy went and shot that uncle. His son is now wanting to get the blood payment back from you. And there is no amount of money in the world. There's no amount of jewelry, materialistic, woman, nothing.
We want it in blood.
Your blood must be paid. And therefore, you are this big time boss in mafia, but you still are bound to the blood payment.
So, ironically, the gangs work in the same logic in the western side as well, because that's what they said, which is kind of funny, that, well, not funny, but kind of ironic, that the hate cycle doesn't really end in that sense.
Yeah.
It usually go in the same sense that one kills one of yours, y'all want to take revenge on that, and basically y'all build up a whole cycle. Y'all kill one of us, we kill one of you, you kill two of us, all of a sudden we kill five of you, and then it just bounces back and creates that hate. And I don't remember who was it specifically, one of the comedians, or was it NLE Chopper or whoever, was talking like how could they like stop the gang violence for example. And even from like gang members, they like interviewed them and asked them like how would they stop the gang violence. But it went to the same logic of the bailout, because imagine somebody kills your uncle and so on and so on. Idealistically and religiously, you should forgive and let it. But because human nature is very, hold grudges. We hold grudges, and you don't really want to allow yourself that somebody takes one of you, especially let's imagine it's somebody that you valued and was really, really important to you. And that other guy just shot them and that's it.
Yeah.
And imagine you just gotta forgive them. Of course, righteously we gotta think like that. But realistically, how people function,
it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. So
it goes to because in my country before the war, there was a lot of these kind of things that happened. For example, back to the Kanun, that people was operating, few areas that were operating with the Kanun, they have this thing called Besa. Now the Besa, there is no word that describes, but it's basically like a trust, like a word. And there are times that I can say it from my history because you can look this up. There's no, I cannot come here. I can lie, but then you can catch me in a lie. But there was
all good over there.
like this is the thing when it comes to belonging, because even in that story that I told you, it happened in real time. It happened somewhere, but the only thing that he got to all these places and did all these things was that he was never, in a sense, rebellious, but he was always the part of the group. So, in a sense, belonging. And when this one, like you said, the human nature, in all culture, if you forgive the blood, you're considered as the man of the man, like at the top. But the problem is that how you forgive, like you said, how you forgive if somebody shot your someone who is close to you. But there is a thing called Besa, and it's 30 days pact. Like 30 days I'll give you Besa. And then afterwards, open hands.
Catch the fate if you catch the
I can murder every single man, one man, because you owe me one blood.
because he didn't.
I can murder one boy or man from your household. Woman I cannot touch. There are stories.
Sexism right there.
Think about it. There are stories where the guy gave the Besa 30 days, and then after 30 days, the men had to lock themselves up because they couldn't walk out. If they walk out, dead. The woman had to do all the work outside of the fields, for example.
Just to.
Like
Dang.
it was hard for them. Like, and that's why in a sense, I despise that thing. But I also, like you said, I also understand. And that's how, for example, from Italian mafia, it's a distinct thing, because in Italian mafia, you can be half Italian. If we go like back, then of course you have to be fully Italian. But then after 20s and 30s, half Italian, and then somebody had to
initiate you.
Yeah, like
Or
if
like recommend you.
Yeah,
Vouch for you.
we both are Italians, but I'm in a mafia and you're not. I'm like, hey, he's cool. We have something to say to you.
Pull up. I mean, technically, most of the gangs work, or the groups work in that same logic, that they pick people who are like in the same environment as them. Because then, same with the Bloods and Crips that we mentioned.
Yeah.
You don't really see like all of a sudden there's a Caucasian in between.
Yeah,
Like it don't work like that. Because most of the time the recruitable characters are one person from the neighborhood usually. So, because with the same logic.
Yeah.
How the KKK?
Oh,
How does the KKK work? I doubt you go find a lot of darker tone friends chilling out there. Chilling out there with the goddamn white cloak and all that.
oh man. But I wanted to make a example how the recruitment went for MS-13, the El Salvador gang. But now El Salvador president, shout out to him. He did what he needs to do for his country. Like he got that gang out of there. He put them all to prison.
Oh yeah, is that where he said cops everywhere?
Yeah, like
He said we ain't playing around with y'all no more.
if you want to see how a president should do their job, look Bukele, name Bukele, El Salvadoran president. He did his job.
He said let's put on the work.
So basically, he was raised in that environment as well, where the gang, now I'm talking about Latino gangs, crazy, right? And,
Muy loco, huh?
Like, muy loco. And now the gangs were so in deep that they were actually controlling everything. Not the parliament, not the military, not the judge system, not the police. The gangs were controlling areas and territories. And the affiliation or somebody to get in the gang, it wasn't even that somebody from neighborhood. It could be somebody from somewhere else until they saw it fit. And that's why, for example, there was a lot of children who was adopted. They were taken, like children couldn't go to schools because of it. in El Salvador. But that was, when you look at that, that was like in the extreme end. Like you said, to the OGs, it's very disrespectful if somebody has a bright future in sports or in academics. They will succeed in something. Keep them out of our business. Our business is dirty. You can get killed any day. It's not cool for that kind of talent to not
It's to be
have-
wasted. You know?
to be wasted. But in younger generations, and now MS-13, for example, they didn't care. They see you, they like what you look like,
Game is game. They said game is game purely.
but in that sense, for example, now El Salvadorans feel so much pride and peace in their country that the people who immigrated from there now wants to come back, and they have started to like re-immigrate back.
Fly back.
Come back. And of course I understand them completely. Think about if your country, I'm not even talking about his or my country, but in general, your country was one of the dangerous countries in the world. I'm talking about the murder rate was number one.
Game is good.
And then it flips, is now more safer than Canada.
I mean, game is game.
Game is game. And of course you
Somebody
will,
was lacking. that just shows somebody was lacking somewhere along the line. If a switch can happen like that.
well, like I said, the president over there, he did
He
what
said, I ain't trying to get no money. I'm trying to get the work.
The story, I will give you, of course, this guy's a quick story. The guy he became their president. I will not tell the whole story, but how he came about that, how he did this. Became a president, and then he tried to with diplomacy and with other constructions. But then the problem was that after a few months, 6 months if I remember correctly, the shooting happened.
He said, no, I'm done with this shit.
One weekend, 11 human beings was killed.
He said, I ain't about all this.
And he was mad. And what's the right word for when the country goes to the not normal state? What's the
Crisis?
Is it the crisis? When the president or somebody from that presidency says that now we are not in a normal state.
Lockdown?
It's not even lockdown. It's not. It is like now the normal laws don't apply. Like it's
Marshall?
Marshall. Thank you.
Marshall.
He said now we are in a martial state, and he gave an order to military and police. Anybody you catch with tattoos or with something.
And by the way, have you seen the jails?
Yes.
Bruh, he said,
Yes.
I ain't playing around no more.
He was doing the work. 7 months, 70,000.
Cleaning the streets.
70,000. And then he got criticized a lot that he also took innocent. Well, I'm not saying that it was bad. It was really bad. It was really bad. You take an innocent human being to jail. But in a whole scale, millions of people now can rest in peace, can go to work and go to school. You don't need to think about that. You send a child and you don't need to think that that child will be adopted somewhere. Oh, 100%.
I mean, innocent. I mean, in what sense? Because, I don't know, having the logos of, certain teams, if he walks like a duck and he quacks like a duck.
Is it a duck? You let me know.
I mean, that's that rhetorical question, I ain't saying none, but, as I say, innocent, at least based on the video of the jail, because I don't know if you've seen the maximum jail that they did. They even had to have the securities cover their face constantly just to, for protection and all that. And visitation is very, very controlled. So, I say, imagine your country goes into that state that your jails are becoming
packed. And they are, but then hats to him, he did make the jails that they can fit all those people.
Because they can't move.
Yes.
He said, I ain't gonna move nobody, and I'm gonna give the base food that you just get the basics.
Yes. But in a sense, you understand also
they fucked it up.
like you as a gang, you went and did horrible stuff. Like he, and I'm gonna be honest, the president, he actually shows mercy to those guys because he said this, and I was actually not surprised, but I was actually like, okay, he actually understands the human nature as well, because he said that if even a prisoner who is full of sins, if they repent, they go and ask forgiveness from their heart to God, and they go towards the God, so their sins will be cleansed. He said it, and he said it as well, that I am a sinner as well. He understands also the human nature, and he understands the mercy behind it. So, like I said, but he was the main factor that El Salvadorians again felt that they belonged as a community. Because then before that was the gangs that belonged. But it was also an interesting part.
Actually, I was thinking about how about like in your home country, like your neighborhood. Did y'all have like a lot of we ain't snitching, but did y'all have action going on with like same type of like? Have you had like experience, or was there anybody from your neighborhood that like had the experience of like actual gang members that were being there and try to like recruit in that sense? Or were gangs overall being built around your neighborhood?
In my neighborhood where we grew up and came about, it wasn't. And the reason number one was that the head chief of police force in Kosovo was from our neighborhood. So the gangs like tried to not be there. Let's say like that.
Yeah, we don't swing that way,
That was
problematic for us too.
Yeah, that was the main reason. The actual like the highest officer in the police force
He's from the same neighborhood.
was 2 houses from our house.
He said, "Nah, bro.
You think that any gang member like
I mean, if he's a corrupt cop, then that's a different story. But we ain't trying to swing that way.
It was no in my neighborhood, no, but I know in this part of head city Pristina, there was like parts. I don't know them personally, but I know, like, of course, the word spreads. If you're willing to listen, the word spreads.
Things happen.
There are parts that not even they tried to recruit anybody, but it was more like because they see that people hang around on the streets, for example, and they see that, okay, he has the street smarts and he knows how to behave and how to act and how to do the job. Yeah, they will quickly, because in my home country, it's very normal to socialize with people. And if you put great aspects together, you go in that way.
Happen. You be like that.
But yeah, not of course, understand this, that the Albanian mafia, it has its name like in a scary sense in name, because they have done a lot of scary stuff. They have done a lot of stuff that a real Albanian, I'm sorry if anybody gets offended from this, but the real Albanian, the upright, that believes in God, the hardworking, usually don't do those things. They don't. But of course, every tree has a bad apple. So
because I was thinking about that, because in a sense, in my home country, I don't know very specifically how it's built in there. But I know in Egypt, for example, they have like gang members in that sense built up because of the reason of, well, not to say too much, but in Egypt there's a little tension between Egyptians and Sudanese people in youths. That they have their own tension and they fight a lot constantly. So that's how they have kind of like built, like what I mentioned earlier about the mentality of it's us against them, and because you agree with me, you are with me, and so on, so on. So that way they have like built their own youth kind of like a members. But we also have like word for them, because we, in a sense, we call them kind of like a street wanderers or street boys or whatever, because most of the time what they do, they're not employed in that sense.
Yeah.
Use drugs, whatever. No, the typical.
Roadman.
Yeah, but basically roadman, but in our like own wording.
Yeah.
And in actual homeland, the gangs are usually, with the same logic of, there's nothing much to do,
Yeah.
no money,
Yeah.
everything is tense, and most of the comfort comes from either robbing from people, stealing, and so on, so on, so. But I haven't at least heard about, because usually gangs have very hierarchy type of
Yeah,
thing. Like
for
there's
sure.
your manager, etc., etc. The same logic of companies
sure.
or military.
For sure.
But I don't know personally if there is in our home country. Might be, but not as clear as how we know. Example, Bloods, Crips, and
Yeah.
so on, or MS.
In my home country, it is. And there is like a head of state. The few families that run the whole business.
Oil companies.
I don't know how far the business goes. Like I'm talking about the mafia business, but the gangs and all that. But yeah, it's a hierarchy and it's a strict hierarchy. Like they don't play around.
If you ain't in that level, don't be talking about
Like
extra level.
you ain't. Let's say like this: if you are just a gang member, you will never know who is the top guy. But then you rank up the ranks, you go up the ranks, and then when you go to a place where you're like controlling a certain territory, then you get to meet the head honcho, and when you meet the head honcho, you are not talking directly at him. Like, of course, you address him and say like you're polite, but it's a very big like honor and respect because they are the OGs. They are
the big man.
They are the original,
Tough.
original tough, like very stoic, cold. You wouldn't guess that. If you see on the streets with the families, we're like, hey, they're cool.
As they say, don't be scared. No, be scared when an older person has survived the game.
Oh yes.
As long as they have in a game where the age matrix is very low.
Yeah, like
Or
gang
expectancy is very
gang expectancy isn't more like 20 something years old.
Because you get to the 20s. That's the fun part.
20 years, like it's very low. Like, and we see somebody who is like in 40s and 50s. Oh boy.
Because don't it like usually goes even in their own saying that it's either you go to jail or under, or you just still basically are surviving.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no really happy ending to your
The
story
game
when you take
the
that
game,
out.
the game goes that way. Yeah.
Or if you're lucky enough, you can quit, but that's also very grayish area.
Because I was going into that, the quitting part. Because I also know there's actually a very famous ex-Albanian mafioso called John Alight. And he did this route that he was caught and then he was sent to Brazil, to the jail. But afterwards, he all of a sudden got out of jail.
I wonder how.
So basically, what it means is that he signed a contract and he snitched people out. He snitched people out. Now, my question to you is that how does one actually get out from there? Because now the part is that they actually belong in that group. But this is a very extreme part of the group. It's not like you belong in a sports team or you belong
you
in
can
a
just bounce off.
like sports team. You don't come next day at practice, deuces, and of course they will.
Nobody can go and find your life.
Well, you get what I'm saying. So how do you see, for example, in Bloods and Crips or in Mafioso, that how does that quitting in a sense goes and how does the consequences go? Because the belonging is such a deep rooted and part of life, like that's their life.
Well, I'm not talking from personal experience.
What you mean? What you mean?
You asked how do you escape it in the city?
You have blue on it?
At least how I've seen from documents and like.
I'm not Bloods, by the way. This is just a.
Hold on. Pause. Association again. Association. But how I've basically seen, because like I mentioned earlier in the episode, is that one cause of why people feel like they gotta stick with the group is the idea of they owing something
Yeah,
to the group, and they might even owe something to the group in
Yeah,
the sense
yeah,
that
yeah.
there have been money lent or so on, so on. So quitting in itself is a lot of cases not even doable. Like you might get the actual term of, oh yeah, he quit the team, but in that sense, you are not really even quitting. You might be later on killed, for example, or you might be pulled back somehow, or some way the lifestyle that you've lived will constantly, or even the rival team's member will, because it's not kind of like a video game that you just pause and, like you said, you just close the game and game is good. It's good. You can just
Save load.
yeah, save load and just open a new game and that's it. And life is good. But let's say in an optimistic scenario where everybody is understanding and there's certain rules that allows you, it usually, even in like Eastern gang like
Triads.
triads and for Yakuza, for example, quitting, if you're allowed to quit, it usually requires some type of debt to
Yeah.
be paid. And it could be from simple of paying some certain sum, getting your ass beaten, for example, certain amount of time, or doing some last mission, for example, or even losing a body part.
Yes,
'Cause-
I have heard about this.
Yeah, losing a body part as a debt to be paid, which is, extreme. All of them are extreme, but, once you join the gang and stay long enough, that kind of is the world that you got to live through. And yeah, as I mentioned, that's the really optimistic like idea. If you get to quit and they release you in a sense and allow you to live quote unquote normal life, then that's on that. But the other side of the coin is that technically, even if you leave the group in itself, let's say you were a big shot, you were doing missions, killing people, assassination, and blah blah, and you had a rivals, you had quote unquote ops. They don't just all of a sudden think that you quit, so we can't touch you no more. So that option still exists. So you're never, in a sense, are fully off the game, even though you might have left the team. Whoa, recording.
Life.
Life. So that's that. Of course, if you were a small guy or small player in the game, then the quitting part is usually easier, and that's what a lot of like quote unquote gang members that have that still that sense of the good old day, the OG mentality, they offer that opportunity for younger guys that if they want to leave the game, they better leave it early because, as the Japanese saying said, but this is related to the relationships, but overall in anything in life, it's much more easier for you to. It's much more easier and cheaper for you to leave a wrong bus or train that you hopped on than to sit on it and figure out it later. Because imagine you 50 stop later, how much it will cost you to get back. So it goes with the same logic in the gang life or any club or that are more like heavier in that sense. That the earlier you get out, like for example, let's say you were protected for a moment and so on, and you said, this ain't it, I don't want to do this, and so on. Before you enter to the deep end of it, then of course, usually you have the opportunity of leaving. And like I said, it might be by getting your ass beaten or doing something or paying some sum to get yourself out. But when you're later on the track, your game is kind of, like I mentioned, you might quit in a sense, but the game will always be behind your head. And we have like a lot of good shows that demonstrate this, like even fictional shows. I don't know if you have seen the Snowfall, the one with the
Parts. I have seen just parts.
one great show that I could like suggest to watch if you want to see a good demonstration of somebody like who was a good person who got himself involved in that lifestyle because they wanted a better life, for make money and so on. So, but then the cycle came in, and you can see how the cycle kind of like you can never quit in that sense. The cycle will be still hunting you. They gave off for side character or well, I couldn't say protagonist, but the side character had like a optimistic in a sense, optimistic ending, even though they did a lot of crime and so on and so on, but they had an optimistic beginning. But as I said, you never know. Nigga might get shot later on. Might get shot later on. But yeah, the Snowfall is good, like a demonstration, or any. You have seen probably Boys in the Hood.
Yeah.
Not really fully gang related, but you know, it shows, example, the killing part.
Yeah.
The grudges.
You even have, I believe you have played Mafia, the game.
Godfather. Yeah, Godfather
No, I'm talking.
Yeah, I have
Godfather,
played Mafia and Godfather
Mafia,
as well. Because Godfather had like, you know, you were doing the actual controlling the city and all that. And also, because personally I have seen like a lot of like, just for entertainment as well, and also to understand the system. Example, a lot of Top Boys, for example, if you have seen, or Blue Story. Blue Story is kind of like a, not really spin-off, but spin-off of the Top Boys in a sense. And it gives you kind of like a inside view of how the British gangs, you know, because roadmen, how the roadmans actually function and how the recruitment actually happens. It shows you that little bit, and in a fiction self, but because we know that she happens in real life as well, so you can like demonstrate. And even Yakuza, like if you've seen certain like Asian movies. Oh yeah, have you played? Side note: have you played Sleeping Dogs?
Of course, I have played Sleeping Dogs.
My guy. So Sleeping Dogs, as you have played it, you kind of get involved into being recruited into try.
He was actually out of that. He was actually first tried, then he went to America, and then he came back.
Yeah, and came as a snitch. but not snitch, but as a undercover.
Undercover, but there, like you said, it demonstrates perfectly.
The whole route of, you know, becoming a member, climbing up basically in a sense, and then, how would I say, quit it or leave it in a sense. But technically, that spoilers, but technically he doesn't, in that sense, but in that sense leaves it. Because only reason why he kind of left it, because most of the people that kind of knew him in a sense were gone.
Yeah.
Or killed off, so. But he still had enemies, because even after you finish the mission, if you go a certain area, you still catch fates, you know, you can throw fates. So that's what I mean by that. Like, you can, in a sense, quit it, leave the team, but the game doesn't end.
Yeah.
In your instance, because you are so deep in already.
Yeah. That's why I referenced Mafia game, because there is a scene, the Mafia Definite, if I remember correctly. The one where he's a taxi driver, just a regular schmegger taxi driver, but then he gets recruited to Mafia because he like gets
Mafia,
an ode.
Yeah, Mafia 1?
It's not one. It's
Mafia 3 is the guy, the black guy.
Yeah, like it's not like it's not affiliated to the one that I'm speaking of.
Okay.
But in Mafia, if I remember correctly, it's Mafia Definite Edition. Basically, what happens is that he's a taxi driver, and the mafiosos now are running away, and he's driving away, and then the other mafioso, the ops, sees him, and then they start to poke him, but then the other mafioso defend him, and then now he becomes part of them. And because he is a little bit smart from the head, he gets to a point where he is at the top, but then he quits it. Almost 40 years afterwards, something like that. Or 40 years afterwards, something like that. Somebody from somewhere gives an order to go and kill this man. When he is like, he's established, he has a home, a wife, kids, like grandkids, like he's...
Oh yeah, I know, I remember this.
Two guys, young bucks, go and just...
It wasn't even in his garden or something like that. Yeah, I remember this.
Example, like you said.
You can never quit the game, especially when you're deep into that. But if you are still like a recruit in a sense, or like a mailman of the team, then usually nobody really holds eye. But the moment you start doing big things, moving big kilos, or doing the killings, then your game kind of is over in that sense. That you have two options in that sense, that you are either 6 feet under jail, or you just barely surviving during that time.
There's a quote in Godfather 2
Good game.
from Michael Corleone. He says that I try to leave it, but again it pulls me.
That's the thing.
But I'm gonna say this. Do you have any last thoughts?
Don't get into gangs, boys.
Stay in school.
Stay school. Stay educated. Keep on your grind. And you know, we understand why people join it. We understand how it affects. And not all gangs, of course, like I said, not all gangs are bad or toxic or whatever. Because there is like certain like, well, gangs, let's say groups.
Yeah, groups. Yeah, for sure.
Because the idea behind it always is kind of like, that's the reason why people are getting pulled into gangs. The idea behind it in beginning at least is very, how would I say, attractive and very sensible.
Yeah.
Especially for the environment that the person is or the group is. But then the end run of it is usually very dark, let's say like that. And I don't know why, because for example here in Finland, people want to people romanticize.
Oh, for sure.
For no reason.
Oh, for
even
sure.
though
Not even just here, but everybody who has a movie theater that has watched shows or TV movies, it is much more romanticized than it's actually.
Than the actual location where things happen, which is kind of sad in a sense. But it all stems back to what we mentioned of people feeling bad or feeling empty and wanted to feel that they belong to something, and that is one route that they kind of like feel like they belong into it. And so, but yeah, other than that, there's other ways and means to be heard and seen. And if you necessarily want to be part of a group, find it from group that won't cause you to end up either 6 feet under or jail or dead. Surviving for momentarily.
Yeah.
So yeah, other than that, not really. Because like I said, I can't really give too much perspective of my own personal experience because I haven't involved myself with such. Like I would say hypothetically in GTA, quote unquote GTA, because I know Switch, might have communicated with people who are involved or have been involved, but that's pretty much that. There's nothing else that I could give off from that, but I can't really give off my own personal experience because I haven't had that.
Yeah. It would be so amazing if this podcast was like a big thing where we could like actually invite persons who were in that life and ask them. Of course, there's a lot of podcasts that people have in this kind of thing. But it would be interesting, like, to ask certain questions. Of course, if they are uncomfortable talking about it, they are uncomfortable talking about it. Or they don't want to talk about it. I understand that as well. But it would be interesting to actually see the psychology behind it.
Like what's going on with it. How about you? Any good finishers you got going on?
Paya!
That one hitter quitter. One hitter quitter.
I don't have anything else. Listen to this, man. Don't join in again. If you have an option and you can have like a way to quit it, please don't do it, because we are talking about in a long run, it will not end well. So and listen, if it was just affected you, it would be like it's
do
on,
what you need to do.
It's on you. That's fine, but it's not only you. You have in Mafia, for example, they had this rule that if there was a gig, a mission, a reason to have they had to go back to the family or to the boss, they always say goodbye to their loved ones.
Just to make sure.
To the wife and kids, like it was the last time they are seen. Every single time. Think about that. Like, let's say you are 5 years in, and every single time a boss calls you, you have to go there. You will say goodbye to your wife and kids like it's the last time.
Hey, game's game.
Like, think about that.
Game's game.
You don't want
You're
that.
so deep in you, game is game.
You don't want that in your life. let's be honest. I don't want to say goodbye to my wife every single time I have to go outside of.
I mean, you never know, you know. You never know. It's your last day, you know. You never know, you know.
But like you said, we understand it. Like the circumstances, the options, the personal feelings that you have, everything just falls down apart perfectly, and there you are.
You end up in a situation you shouldn't be in.
That's that.
That's that.
With that being said, you know what to do. Oh,
You know what to do.
you know what to do.
You know what to do.
There is a subscribe button, there is a like button, there is a comment button. You go there, and of course a bell button as well.
The bell button is right next to it.
Next to it.
Remember the socials as well?
Socials as well, Spotify as well. And with that being said, we have pretty much wrapped this up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate it for watching this new episode.
It is new episode.
I mean, the current episode that you're watching, and as always, we see you in the next one.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Peace.
God damn it.